Hey, good evening, guys. This is Nathan Pennington from RunDreamAchieve.com, and in tonight's video, I was on Quora.com, and there was a question that somebody had asked, and they said, how much practice does it take to shave off a minute of time from a 7-minute mile? And instead of me just writing the answer to that, I just want to make a video about this to whoever asked the question. A 7-minute mile, we're all different in terms of our, anaerobic capacity and how fast we can actually, run an all-out mile. Obviously, the mile is a highly anaerobic event. A lot of us have more, as distance runners, we're physiologically built for long distance. We're not so much built as sprinters. If you notice, most sprinters, if you took their body composition, they'd probably be made up of like 99% fast twitch muscle fibers and like 1% slow twitch muscle fibers. Whereas with distance runners, like such as ourselves, there's a much higher percentage of slow twitch muscle fibers and much smaller percentage of fast twitch muscle fibers. So, with that being said, and without trying to sound too technical, how to shave off a minute of time. Really, I mean, to shave off a minute of time off of a 7-minute mile, to go from a 7-minute mile to a 6-minute mile is really, it can take, everybody's different. It could take a few months, or it could take a few years to go from a 7-minute mile to a 6-minute mile. The good news is, if you're continuing to focus on running at 6-minute mile pace and spending a little bit more time during your week, each week, either running, maybe doing, if you're just starting out, maybe doing 2 or 3 400 meters on the track at 6-minute mile pace, so a minute and 30 seconds per quarter, or extending out the amount of time and the length of your long runs also can extremely can help you out to a great extent, to drop a minute off your mile time. The reason why is because you're building that capability of your body to be able to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up by training at faster speeds. If your current PR is 7 minutes and you're trying to get to 6 minutes, then really the key is to spend more time during your weekly training regimen training at or below 6-minute mile pace. Now, obviously, training, if your all-out mile right now is 7 minutes and you're focusing on trying to shave off a full minute, it's going to take, a lot of hard work. There's no easy way of doing this. My specialty is the marathon, but I've also run the mile. I have a personal best of 4 minutes and 22 seconds that I ran in college. So I know how difficult that particular event is, and to drop that amount of time off. But the good thing is, like currently right now, I'm coaching a guy whose mile best is around exactly 7 minutes, but he can go out right now and run a marathon in 3 hours and 30 minutes, and he's continuing to work on his speed. So that's really the good part about being able to go from a 7-minute mile to a 6-minute mile is you can do that within either a few months. If you're training properly and you're spending a lot of time training at an anaerobic level, and you're spending more time training at your anaerobic threshold, which is around 167 to 174 beats per minute if you're wearing your heart rate monitor, or you're spending some of that time during your weekly training volume as well, training at your aerobic capacity. Your aerobic capacity is sprinting. That's like doing 200s at 5:45 mile pace, or 400s at 5:45 mile pace. If you can do that, just early on, you gotta expect that you're not gonna be able to do that for very long, obviously. So as you get fitter, your heart's not gonna have to work as hard. So you're gonna have to, with time, if you're patient, you'll be able to extend not only the amount of time that you're running at your anaerobic threshold, which is the point where lactic acid starts to build up in your bloodstream. You'll be able to extend the amount of time you're able to sustain to run at that pace. And to get that physiological boost, you're going to continue to get stronger. You're going to continue to be able to run for a longer period of time at that pace. And also those track workouts, to go from a 7-minute mile to a 6-minute mile, and to drop a full minute off, you're going to have to really focus on working that aerobic capacity. Training at, if you're wearing your heart rate monitor, uh, in track workouts, obviously you're talking closer to like 175 beats and above, up toward your max heart rate. Obviously, none of us, no matter where you're currently at in terms of your capability, are able to spend a lot of time at training at that level, because there's only so much. You're training at your aerobic capacity. That's at your maximum oxygen output. That's the most you can put out before your muscles start to shut down. And really, the reason why is the hydrogen ion, which is contained within lactic acid, really shuts down muscle functioning. And the only way to train your body to be able to run faster and to shave that amount of time off your current mile best is to spend it early on. Even if you're not that fit right now, spend a few seconds to a few minutes training at those extreme high anaerobic levels. And then as you get fitter, you're going to be able to spend longer amounts of time training at a higher anaerobic level. So the main thing to drop that amount of time off is to, one, definitely be patient with yourself. Do not beat yourself up. Asking a question like that, how much practice does it take to shave off a minute of time from a 7-minute mile? That's going to take obviously a lot of work on your part and a lot of consistent training to be able to do it. But it happens all the time. There's runners of all different backgrounds that are able to go from a 7-minute mile to a 6-minute mile. And then you get to a point where you're not only holding 7-minute mile pace for 1 mile, but you'll be doing it for 5 miles and then maybe like 10 miles. And then this type of question, you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, I can't believe it. A few years ago, I was asking this question about how do I shave off a minute off my time, and running a 6-minute mile, and now I'm doing it for 10 miles, or now I'm doing it for 5 miles. That's the real key to running success, is you really just have to be extremely patient with yourself. And like I said, I've been competing for 28 years. I got a site called RunDreamAchieve.com where I teach athletes from at the beginner level all the way to the elite level how to improve. And really the key strategies to run faster is to really focus on, one, what is the pace you want to run at. And in your case, obviously you're wanting to run you're trying to run a 6-minute mile pace, so that is 130 per mile, or 130 per 400, 230 per 800, obviously, and 6 minutes at the mile. So you want to spend a lot of time training at that pace and getting used to what the 6-minute mile pace feel like. And I'd also add in, those long runs are critical as well. If you're getting to a point where you're able to do 5 to 10 miles to maybe branching out to like 15 miles, the longer you can run, obviously in your long run, even just running a longer distance, maybe from like 10 miles to 20 miles, is going to create an enormous amount of strength that you're going to have, because you're putting in those weekly long runs on top of doing the real tough types of training that I mentioned. You're training at your aerobic capacity, might just be for a few minutes, but doing like 200s and 300s, repeat 600s on the track, repeat Ks, and really drilling down on that 6-minute mile pace is going to get you to a point where you're going to, 7-minute mile pace is going to feel much, much easier, because you've trained your body properly, and you've trained at such a high anaerobic level, coupled with the long endurance workouts like the long runs, and then spending a little bit more time during those long runs running at a higher heart rate, is going to teach your body to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. And that's why all the best distance runners, the best middle distance runners, best milers that you see, they make it look effortless for a reason. If they were just going out every single day and running just long, slow, easy miles, they would have a very difficult time trying to run fast for long periods of time. Anybody can run, anybody can run slow for a few minutes or for a few hours. But really, it's a true art form to be able to run fast for a long period of time, or for a mile. And I hope this short video can answers your question, and hopefully helps you out in some way. and I look forward to hearing your update in regards to where you've gone since you've asked this question. 7 minutes, and I wouldn't be in the least bit surprised if the next few months or the next couple years I hear you've run like a 5:30 mile, or you've run a sub 6 minute mile pace, or 6 minute mile on the track. So with that, hope this has been helpful. And again, if you haven't stopped by RunDreamAchieve.com, feel free to do that. I have a lot of free articles on there as well. If you check out the archives page, and then obviously a lot of different courses, and I have training programs as well. So I wish you all the best and hope this video has been helpful.